Hello, hello, hello. This is me again, back to do another part of my Spyro. Let's replay Spyro the Dragon. That was a great introduction, but honestly, not that much worse than my last one, my last video. Anyway, so last part, I think we ended up. I actually didn't get very far because I was telling my whole bloody life story. And I think we were about to talk about me finally getting into Let's Plays. Before I sort of continue on with that, I'm just going to talk a little bit sort of meta, commenting on this Let's Play itself. So I'll firstly just talk about the comments I got in the last video. So it was mostly people whoa, what the hell? This guy is back doing a Let's Play, and there's people sort of miss me. There wasn't really any comments about specifically the commentary. I don't know if that's because people didn't watch the video, or if they found it a little bit too shocking or overwhelming or boring. I don't really know. But that's really okay. I would have been honestly, I would have probably continued this Let's Play regardless if there was any sort of response at all. And I'm honestly happy to do it because I'm happy to talk, a lot, and talk about myself and Spyro and other things. I'm happy to do that regardless if I'm really getting that many people watching or commenting or giving their own thoughts. There's something cathartic or therapeutic about this whole endeavor, I think, for me. So. Yeah, it's very meta. And I also, a friend of mine, there was one friend who commented on the thing about me being a really bad moderator when I was a kid on those forums. He said one thing, he thought that was funny, but another person sort of said that there was an AI overview of my Let's Play, and so I actually put the transcript for the Let's Play into AI, and I asked it sort of what it thought. For some reason, it thought that I said 140, but I think that might have been the transcript, the YouTube transcript. YouTube transcript is actually pretty good. It gets most things right. It does bleep out when I swear, but it gets most things right. So, but the AI, I actually, in the nature of my bad memory, I forgot most of the stuff it said. I mean, most of the stuff that it would have said is sort of pretty obvious that, the Let's Play is like what I said is a bit of a sort of a meta Let's Play or retrospective, that kind of thing. And then also, I guess the main issue would be if people would find this boring or self-indulgent. That would be the main criticism, and those are pretty fair criticisms, honestly. I don't think me talking about meta shit is necessarily all that interesting. And obviously any autobiography or anything that's sort of biographical, unless it's entertaining, can get very self-indulgent, but that's okay. I don't mind being a bit self-indulgent. Maybe some people might appreciate it, so it's all right. It's fine. I'm not too self-conscious about it. I mean, I'm a bit self-conscious about it, but I'm not too self-conscious about it. So yeah, I talked about that year 8 was kind of my shitty year, the year where things went downhill. And year 9 was kind of the same as that, if not worse than that, to be honest. Year 8 is where things sort of started to go downhill, and then year 9 is sort of continued. And year 8, I was doing some glitch videos. I was doing uploading some speedway times or flight times in Spyro, and doing a little bit of speed runs as well, regular speed, level speed runs. 2009 is when I guess the big sort of moment for me where maybe I felt inspired to make videos, or I sort of felt inspired to become more antiquated with the sort of the online communities, I guess quote unquote content creator communities, was Crash Bro 3 had a live stream. I think it was in about July 2009, and I think I added a couple of people on Skype, and that was the first time I talked to people online over mic, and I was very, very nervous at first. First person I talked to was a guy called Chatetris. I think he's Canadian or something, and I think we ended up falling out. I can't remember exactly what the drama is, but I remember I made like some kind of like video like mocking him or something, like an edit of him and inserting like inside jokes. So, no, that's the kind of thing I would do back in the day. I would people I sort of would want to make fun of. I would make like edits of them or something like that. You know, like that's just how it was back then. That was just the meta back then. So yeah, that's your Tetris guy. That was the first person I spoke to, and I think I remember like one of my most recent videos, Dakarus, which is like his friend, commented on it. And it's like, holy shit, you still make videos or something? I think that was like maybe the video I made a couple of years ago about like the Spyro music copyright. I'm still not sure what the status of all that is, by the way. I actually haven't looked at sort of if those videos are still copyrighted or whatever. I don't really actually care. Like my whole channel is non-monetizable for various reasons. I obviously don't plan to make any money out of this. I don't know necessarily like what if I have sort of an end goal with this like Let's Play or sort of rebooting my channel or quote unquote brand or any of that kind of stuff. Like I've just decided to become a little bit more active. Like I think I have been interested in politics the last couple of years, but honestly, it's pretty depressing. It's pretty depressing, the state of politics, like not only like Australian politics, but also world politics. It's pretty depressing. So, you know, maybe I'm sort of regressing again by playing Spyro or doing speedruns. Maybe that's sort of like a way I'm regressing. I'm sure I will sort of be into politics at the same time, but like I guess I'm sort of taking a step away. But I'll get back to, I know I keep it going back and forth. I'm really inconsistent. And also, I think the thing that annoyed me most about my first part was, when I rewatched it, was just how badly I actually painted a timeline of events. Because I kept on saying like, oh, I fell out of video games. I fell into video games. I think what I meant by like, I lost interest in video games, I don't think I ever lost interest in video games per se, but I did lose an interest in new console video games, like into, you know, when I was about 11 or so. I don't know, like, or even younger maybe. Like Ratchet and Clank got me back into it, like when I was like 11. But then I still was like console games, like my interest in that sort of wanes. Like I was a bit of like a handheld gamer. Like it's a bit more social, you know. I remember taking my Nintendo DS to my friend's house or playing Pokemon with my friends or Mario Kart or something. Like or like Worms. Like it's a little bit more social. It's not quite as like solitary as like a console game. So I think, I mean, handhelds, like, I think they're different. I think they're sort of a different kind of ballpark to console games. And was it mostly multiplayer stuff I played? Kinda. I really like the remake of Super Mario 64 on the DS. I played the shit out of that. Yeah, also the reason that AI thinks I say all the time is because I'm constantly sort of thinking about, like, sort of tuning out in my brain to think about what exactly I'm going to say next. And like, I have to really think about it because I get a lot of, yeah, as I said, I got a lot of concurrent thoughts. And a lot of those thoughts, they're either things that I want to talk about for whatever reason. Maybe I think like I don't want to sort of give away too much information about something in my sort of life, or could just be that I think it's irrelevant or something. I don't know. I also like, I guess like I get like sort of really long tangents of train of thought. You can already tell, like I'll talk about one thing and then I'll move to another thing and then I'll go on a really long tangent about that. And you know, it doesn't make it. I mean, I would assume it does not make for a good Let's Play if I'm just going from topic to topic to topic to topic. But you know, that's how it is. Like this is completely unscripted, and I've done that for a reason. I don't want to put any more. So I don't want to make this any more than it is. Right? It's just me talking. That's all this thing is. It's not. There's no script to it. My thoughts are not like being. They're not being structured in any way. It's just how I'm feeling and thinking at the time, and you can get maybe some insight into my thought processes as well. I mean, as you can see, I'm very neurotic, very, very neurotic. I'm like sort of even critical of my first part of this. When it's meant to be a giant mess anyway. Anyway, so I've actually kind of lost track of what topics we were on, but oh, I missed that gem. I'll have to go back for that. That's all right. So I think what happened was I saw a bunch of people that's playing Spyro on YouTube, and then I somehow got in contact with them. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe they put their contact details on, or like I commented or something. And then we formed our own little community in late 2009. I think it just started with an interest in Spyro, but like I sort of brought it into like racing the games as well. I mean, some people were interested in that. Some people were just wanted to sort of hang around and just kind of like, I don't know, loiter about that they weren't actually interested in like racing the games or speedrunning the games. They were just sort of there, you know. And so that's why a couple of people just sort of either like disappeared or just weren't that interested in like some of the like the speedrun stuff, because that's sort of what it mostly turned into as a conduit for a reason to communicate with each other and discuss. Like that, it was originally casual speedruns, and then in late 2009 we moved to like tournaments. I mean, you could still call a lot of people. I know the Rixer, he always refers to the I'm a Speedrunner tournaments as casual speedruns, which I don't think that's. I don't really take offense to it, but I do think it's sort of like an incorrect way to view it, because you could say it's casual, but people back then did take it like somewhat pretty seriously. Like, I guess there wasn't sort of an angle for like what people do these days and have been doing for like over the last 10 years or more, which is that people literally spend like all day. Some people even have a full-time job, like playing the game over and over again and trying to sort of perfect their time. It wasn't like that, I guess. It was just like we raced each other and we did discuss strats, and so I guess it was more casual than it is these days. But to say it was entirely casual, I think, what am I doing? Like, I'm trying to do like the fucking speedrun thing, and I'm just too washed up to do that. Sorry about that. So I'll just get the ferry. Please give me kisses. So yeah, so that was a thing. The tournaments. And I can almost say like, and that's history. Like that's sort of that's history from there. Like, I think most people who are familiar with me know that I've been trying to push those. Well, I had been trying to push those speedrunning tournaments for quite a long time. Like, long after my channel was pretty much dead, I was still uploading videos about those tournaments and trying to encourage people to join. I think the community at the beginning, and I don't know where I missed this 5gem. The community at the beginning was very homogenous. Well, not homogenous, that's not the right word. It was all sort of in the one place. It was almost like the entire speedrunning, or not the entire Spyro community on YouTube almost at the beginning was in our community. And then it grew so large that it obviously had to split into different pieces. It split in various ways. It split in like ways of, some people wanted to meet up IRL and sort of have a more sort of, real life friendship connection. Some people weren't prepared to do that. Some people, like at the start of the whole thing of YouTube and stuff like that, I didn't really want to show my face. Part of that was that I was kind of self-conscious about my appearance, but I mean, I guess also like there is sort of like, there has been this mantra even since I was a little kid that you don't sort of put who you are on the internet, and there was times I couldn't help but do that, unfortunately. Even when I was like really little, like there's like a famous sort of DeviantArt post about me doxing myself. If you sort of search hard enough on the internet, you might be able to find what I'm talking about. But and I'm sorry everyone that I'm missing this one blue gem. This is why I'd be terrible at 120% right. Well, it's mostly because I'm talking. Like, somebody in the comments of the last video said I suck at the game or something, or I suck in general. Yeah, I kind of do suck when I'm like, oh, it's that fucking spider. That's what the fucking gem is. I do suck when I'm like too busy like yammering on. I really do suck. Oh my god. I wasn't even trying to continue supercharging, and letting go of square sometimes is just not enough. Well, I should say square. I actually bought this controller in the Philippines. This is like a really like an El Cheapo generic controller. It's like based on like the PS2 controller. I bought this in the Philippines. I actually thought it didn't work, but then I plugged in the other day, and it's like currently the only controller I have, because like all my controllers, I think I took them over to my friend's place and I left them there. Like I know I'm gonna go back there in a couple of days, but for the moment I don't have those controllers. But this one, at least the analog works perfectly fine. The D-pad is a little. I never really liked the PlayStation D-pad. I don't like it. The buttons are all sort of separate from each other. I think I might have sort of like put up with it when I was a kid, but these days I really don't like it. I remember getting some of those like Logitech controllers when I was in like year 8. Mostly just to play emulator games, and I like those a lot better where like the D-pad is sort of all the one button. I still have some of those, by the way, but they're all sort of dying like gradually. They're all gradually falling apart. But I still have some of those. Yeah, they're all pretty old at this point. So yeah, I don't like this D-pad. I'm using the analog stick, so if anyone was wondering. But yeah, I mean, I think I will try to get back into speedrunning a little bit. I don't aim for any, like, I won't aim for any amazing goals. On some categories, I'd be happy with, like, say, 100 on the leaderboard, or maybe 150 if even. Obviously some goals have like more sort of, like the 100th time is more, what's the word? Not precise. It's more perfect. I don't know what the fucking word is. More perfect than other 100th times. Depends on the category. Some categories like 120% Spyro 1 and 14 tally. Spyro 2 are actually like are more popular than others. So depending on what it is, I'll try to get either 100 or 150th or something, maybe even 200th on the leaderboards. I don't, because I just, back in the day, I only sort of played something if I thought that I could sort of get the world record, and obviously I don't feel that way anymore. Like I obviously think, well, one, I'm sort of getting old, so I think that does reduce your skill. It really does. I mean, especially if you haven't played in a long time, but or if you're like me and you're like getting dementia or something, and like you can't, clearly there's some skills you have that are lacking compared to when you're younger. So what was I saying? Have I even got the other chest yet? I mean, I'll get that later if I haven't got it, so it's okay. So yeah, it's pretty much history. Those I'm a Speedrunner tournaments, I ran them for a couple of years, and they all sort of fell apart eventually. Either through me getting really dumb ideas, or like sort of encouragement from some people that for ideas that were not very smart. And yeah, mainly me, like, because I was sort of, for most of those tournaments, it was sort of like I could just sort of do whatever I wanted. Like especially the first lot before I started meeting people in person. Like that's when I sort of had free roam, because I think when I started meeting people in person, there was like this maybe like this aura of there was a sort of aura that I had that I maybe lost. This aura of like sort of magnificence or something. I don't know. Because I mean, at the time, like at the very beginning, like I was sort of like this grand figure, I guess, in the Spyro community or the Spyro speedrunning community, because I did Let's Plays, I did speedruns, I did like quiz videos, I did glitch videos, I did all these kinds of stuff. And then when people met me IRL, I think they just sort of, I think people realized that I was just like this really pathetic nerd who probably had like issues. So that lost a bit of the mystique or the aura. What do you want to call it? I lost some of that, unfortunately. And I think people began to respect me less. So I think I didn't put almost any effort into my appearance. back in the day. I still don't put an awful lot. Like I've always thought that. Oh my god, this is getting really off topic, but I always thought like skincare was a meme, and I still kind of believe that. I think there is probably some like I probably have some really dry skin. I need to do something about it, but I think a lot of that stuff is very overrated. Like the Zoomer generation has really gotten into like what do they call it? Self-help or personal care or any of that crap. Like a lot of that is sort of just a cope to make yourself feel like you're actually like sort of like doing something for you to help yourself. But a lot of the time it's just sort of genetics or luck of the draw. You're not like sort of responsible necessarily for a lot of ways that people treat you or but for me it was more that just like I just didn't care at all about my appearance. Like I thought like I was already sort of ugly, so I was like, well, like do I really have to make myself look better? And I mean I had no interest in looking like being attractive in a masculine way, right? Even in a way that was sort of like appeals to some elements of like masculinity or like the conventional sort of male attractiveness. Like I've never had any interest in appealing to that. I mean, I wouldn't say like I have any interest in appealing to like any feminine conventions either. I guess I've always just been like a contrarian who just like does things the way I want to do it. So over the years, a lot of people have sort of queried about whether or not like what the fuck's going on with my gender, right? And it's a fair question to ask because I've had a lot of different sort of I don't know, quote unquote looks where I maybe look a little bit androgynous, and I've never really been really outward about masculinity or something like that. And I guess the answer to that question is that like I don't think. Oh my god, I'm still missing so many gems. I don't think that I was really suited to go through male puberty, to be honest. I found the whole thing pretty distressing, and it was the thing that caused me to to get really very depressed in year 8 and year 9 and that period really. It was puberty. But like as for like if I wanted to go through female puberty, I mean I think I would prefer it to male puberty. I think I sort of time has told that I would, but as for like sort of like what kind of gender roles that I would want to sort of match to, that's never really been something that I could really pinpoint and say like, oh yeah, I definitely want to be sort of like I definitely want to act like a woman or some shit like that, or act like a man, That's never really been. I think I'm just sort of, my mind is just too like fucked, and I'm too contrarian to have that opinion, like to fit a particular role in society. I don't know why I'm going through the end portal here, but I don't think I've ever felt like I wanted to be a particular archetype, right? I've always kind of wanted to be my own person. Yeah, sorry about that. So I mean, like, I think it would just be easier if like I said like, oh, I'm transgender or something, but like, obviously, I just want to make it more complicated for you. But like, I mean, I guess I fit under that umbrella. I think I fit under the sort of the trans umbrella, but like. I mean, there's no real need to really complicate it. I'm complicating it more than I am. But like, I think the reason is because the term transgender like has so much baggage these days. And for a while, I think I felt like I needed sort of to separate myself from that label in that community because I felt like the way I approached things was quite different. For me, it was very much like I just really just viewed my body as disgusting, and I didn't sort of and oh my god, I've been in this level for so long that it's playing other music. Alright, let's go to Blowhard. Or let's go to Crystal Flight, actually. Yeah. Oh no, we were already there. We already done that. Oh my god, I've been talking so much that I've forgotten what kind of stuff I've done. Right. So, I was actually just then considering scrapping this and redoing the whole thing because I've been incredibly rambly and not to the point this part. It's actually much worse than the first part, to be honest, but that's alright. That's just how it is, that's how it is. So I don't care too much about how people refer to me in society or if I sort of I mean, I've always been somebody who likes to sort of challenge my own feelings, and the way I view myself is way more important to me than the way other people view me, I guess. But I do feel embarrassed if people view me in a way which maybe they jump to false conclusions from, or they think I view myself in a way differently than I do. I think that's sort of more of an issue, I think, is when I think other people think that I view myself as the way that I don't. I think that really gets to me. And I think usually that's what I feel like I have to prove to people, that I don't feel a certain way about myself. That, I mean, you could sort of hear it in not only the first part where I was trying to to sort of assure you and I guess myself that I'm not being narcissistic, and ChatGPT saying oh, if you were narcissistic, you would be I don't know if it was ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatever the fuck I used. So maybe the Chinese government has data about my Spyro Let's Play now, or Let's Replay, I should say. But obviously I'm a little bit concerned that, of how you guys might think I view myself, and I don't know. Maybe this is just getting way too meta for what this should be. I'm it's gone beyond telling my life story at this point. It's just me being endlessly self-conscious. But I mean that's what I am. I'm very critical of myself, and I honestly think that people have taken advantage of that sometimes, where my criticism of myself leads me into doubting myself. And therefore, I sometimes don't make the best case for myself as well. In some situations, because I'm sort of too busy arguing with myself whether or not I've done the right thing, or I'm doing the right thing, or something like that. And I mean, obviously, I'm a very indecisive person, right? And that indecision has stopped me from doing a lot of things. A lot of the time, I just sleep because I just can't handle making a decision. So I just decided that I would sleep instead of making a decision. It's difficult. It's difficult to make decisions. I find life much easier when either the decision is not the decision is made for me, because I don't really like other people making decisions for me, unless it feels like that would make them feel better, and then therefore it might be easier for me, to. Well, yeah, if it's somebody else making a decision, and I feel like that would be best for them, and I'm trying to please them, then yeah, I would probably let that happen. But it's more that when I have a lot of options and what I choose isn't quite clear, I think that's when it gets difficult for me. And life is sort of like that in general. I think life is very open-ended in general, and I think that overwhelms me a lot about life. I had a really hard time out of high school choosing what career to go into, because I was so overwhelmed by the options, and there was nothing that sort of jumped out to me. There was a lot of things I was sort of interested in, and I didn't. I mean, there's sort of more things I can sort of write off as oh, I definitely shouldn't do that or something like that. But obviously, a lot of people, they might do I don't know, Let's Plays or play video games as a teenager as their hobby, and then they completely grow out of it at university or tertiary education, but some people they sort of stick around for ages, and I mean I've sort of tried to sort of move away and do other things. But obviously I'm back here, and somebody was criticizing me that, you know, I've ended up back here or something, you know, like I don't sort of view it as that, and that was weird. That sounded like the PlayStation sound when you're turning on the PlayStation. Maybe that was sort of like audio glitch or something. Fuck, that chime that it makes when you turn on the PlayStation. I don't view it as like I've just sort of like gone nowhere in X amount of time. I don't view it as that. I sort of view it. I mean, I view this as sort of like me looking at things from a later perspective and evaluating things. That's how I view this. So I don't view this as me doing the same thing. Definitely not. It's completely different to how I would ever speak in my Let's Play. I would never be this candid with my thoughts and like well, I mean, it's probably for a good reason, because I don't think people really that interested in my personal life back then, and I don't think they're really that interested in it right now. But I don't know. It's just like it's always like a maybe thing. Bit of silence there because, again, it's making a decision is difficult for me, and I can talk for a while, and when there's like an easy thing to move on to, then I can easily just move on to that. But otherwise, I'm like sort of I feel stuck, and I'm not sure what to talk about. I mean, I guess I'll talk about friends, just in general. So at the moment, I would say I have like a sort of a small group of friends, IRL, not that many really, and that dwindled down really far a couple of years ago, and I guess it's gone a little bit back up again. I think just because I'm just generally a little bit happier of a person. Like I'd say that I've sort of hit some lows a couple of times in my life. Only a couple of years ago was one of my lows. I had a really bad year. A lot of bad shit kept on happening. And that's I would definitely feel like that. One of the things was I gained like a lot of weight. If you watch some of my videos over the time, you would see that I've sort of had a bit of a fluctuations in weight. I think it's simply just because I've had different sort of periods of stability, or like not necessarily even stability, but maybe like sort of hope for the future, optimism. And then I have had other periods where I just feel like everything's shit. So yeah, there's sort of like a. See, that sounded like like a fucking chime or something. It didn't sound like the explosion of the box. Maybe that's like a Duck Station glitch or something. I don't know. I'm playing on Duck Station, by the way. And I'm dead. Lovely. I don't know where these leftover gems are either, but I will explore around. I believe I've already gone down to the bottom of here. Oh my god, I didn't mean to glide then. I'm playing so hard. I'm so rusty. Like, I haven't really played since the other day, so that's definitely why I'm so rusty. It's definitely not like I just had nothing else to do tonight. Like, everyone that I wanted to speak to seemed busy or uninterested in speaking, so that's why I'm here. Okay, I should really talk more about this history stuff, because I've sort of veered off path of that. But so I did those Let's Plays. I did some speedrun tournaments and some speedruns. But I think there was a sort of an element of self-consciousness that I had, and I'm done. Thank God. There was an element of self-consciousness I think I had about, you know, playing games or speedrunning. Like I thought like it's like a hobby I had to sort of grow out of, and do other things, or I guess I got sort of like busy with trying to like have like some kind of romantic life or something, for lack of a better word, or I got involved in people. Like, I'm an extremely clingy person with my romantic partners. I rely on the affection from them a lot. And I think back in the day, I used to get clingy very often. Like, not often, sorry. Very early. And when I shouldn't. You know, I mean, it's just stupid immaturity. Like, I don't think that's really any different to a lot of people. Like, you could complain that my relationships were like messy or toxic or some shit like that, but I don't think it's really that much more remarkable compared to most people, honestly. I think most people hide a lot of that stuff and pretend like things are okay when they're not. So, you know, I've got a couple of sort of angry exes and stuff like that. But I don't think our relationships were really that extraordinary in terms of toxicity compared to a lot of people. I'm not saying they weren't toxic, but I don't think they're really incredibly notable. I don't know. But I mean, to say the least, I've matured a lot in that regard, like about who I might enter a relationship with, or something like that. But I think that's the way I'm trying to sort of relate this to the topic, is that I think that's ultimately what moved me away from speed runs and Let's Plays, is that I started focusing a lot of my emotional attention on people that I liked, maybe some friends as well, definitely some people that I shouldn't have focused as much emotional attention on. I've also noticed that I tend to take a lot from people, take a lot of shit from people, and I don't know if that's because I have such a deplorable personality that the only people that could tolerate me are the kinds of people that will also shit on me at the same time, or the kinds of people that do shit on people. But I think it could be also that just, I mean, I've sort of pride myself on having a less of a filter than other people. I can have a filter. The problem is I get very exhausted when I put that filter on for a long period of time. I think generally socializing is exhausting for me in general. Just part of that is putting on that filter, and part of that is having to deal with reading everyone's emotions. Like, I'm sort of very sensitive, super sensitive to people's emotions they have on their face, and to the degree that, like, I notice things about the way people are looking that that nobody else does, or I doubt that anyone, or people ignore or something. But that's also been something that's a bit of an issue, I think, in time, is because I have sort of ignored myself, like where I would notice something about the way somebody looks, and I would sort of say no to my intuition and say, oh, I probably am misjudging that person, you know. But then I would find out later on, from one way or another, that I was actually right to come to the conclusion about how they were feeling at the time. So I think I need to sort of be more trusting of how I view people's emotions. But the problem is that people let out a lot more emotion when they're speaking to people than they realize. And they're not used to someone like me who really does pick up on these really micro emotions. And I think I notice things about people and their emotions, as I said, way more than other people, and then I either get affected by that and I say something that like brings that up. I go like, oh, why do you have that facial expression, you know? And maybe they're insecure about why they're insecure about something, but they don't want to sort of talk about it. I think that's a lot of the time. Or they just get completely blindsided by me. I mean, I say a lot of things that piss people off, right? That aren't intended. Like, sometimes I know that I'm quote unquote trolling, but I think it's more that like I just sort of take off the filter and I let myself sort of run, my mouth run, and that's sort of deemed as trolling because I'm not sort of filtering myself to the extent I should. I mean, it is sort of shitty that like just saying what's on your mind is deemed as trolling these days. And like when you say something that's on your mind and you know that it might cause shit, right? That's deemed as trolling these days. It's not even like trying to piss people off. It's just like not being as not having the same filter as you would usually. It comes across as trolling. So sometimes I say the wrong thing because I just my filter isn't good enough, and I don't realize the implications of what I'm saying, because I think it is just very exhausting for me to constantly put on a filter, or it is that that I just decide, fuck it, I'm just gonna take the filter off a little bit and sort of mask off and say something like that I shouldn't say, that I know I shouldn't say, and I say it anyway because I don't know. I either I want to cause a reaction or I just think it's funny or something like that. Like I don't know. I've got in trouble a lot over the years with a lot of different people. It isn't just for for saying the wrong thing. I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's thinking something is funny or appropriate when it's not. Other times it's, I think just getting to people. Sometimes I think it's sort of reasonable that I've gotten to people. Other times I think it's sort of unreasonable that I've gotten to people possibly through highlighting their insecurities or something like that. I don't know. But I do, I piss people off a lot. And that's probably why my friend circle has been pretty small. I also have some pretty, like when it comes to like opinions about the world, I have some pretty controversial opinions about a lot of the ways sort of on not only some issues, but also sort of the way that society reacts to certain things. I have some pretty controversial opinions on that stuff too, and that obviously in this kind of day and age that sort of clashes with people, either because they disagree with me, or they don't want to be sort of associated with someone who outwardly says something like that, whether they agree with me or not. A lot of people just don't want the hassle of having to get into politics or opinions that are viewed as controversial. That people that just don't want to deal with that. So, so often a lot of the time, I'm sort of avoided for that reason. So, I do feel like sometimes people appreciate it, but it definitely gets me into a lot of trouble. But that's just sort of who I am, and I've sort of accepted who I am more in very recent times, and I also sort of realized that it's actually to not express how you feel about certain issues a lot of the time can be very suffocating. You could feel really have I done Wildflight or not? I can't remember. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, I have. Okay. All right. I see. Okay. Oh my god. That's so crazy. Because, as I said, I did like 120% of this the other day. So part of me is like second guessing myself and thinking like, oh, maybe I'm just remembering back to the other day when I did 120%. But yeah, sorry for the really sloppy gameplay, everyone. I hope that my rambling commentary makes up for it. So going back to the Let's Plays, why did I pick Spyro? Or like why has Spyro been the big thing? Why has this game been so much more sort of prevalent rather than other things? I think what Spyro has that a lot of other games don't have is like the fast pace, but not. I think it really sort of transitioned to the 3D era, like better than say Sonic did. Like Sonic was also sort of like the fast pace. Oh my god, game of its era. In like I guess you would call it the fourth generation of video games, right? And I don't think the 3D Sonic games, at least the first couple ones, were incredibly well received. I do have a friend who really likes Sonic Adventure. I call them roller coaster or theme park games because it's a lot of that time when you're playing those games and you're going really fast. It's just you're just holding forward or something, and like a lot of weird shit happens, and it's like, and I sort of make fun of it. And I feel that way about the earlier Sonic games too. I think the fast pace sort of hurts the games a little bit because the developers know that you simply can't know what the fuck is going on in the game, right? So they just have to make a lot of these levels just sort of sideshow events where you just press forward and a lot of fun things happen where Sonic goes up, down, left, right, hits a button, hits a switch, hits a spring, blah, 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 blah. Actually, the most I ever got into Sonic was, and it's not really Sonic, but there's like a game called Samari, which is like this, it's like this ROM hack of, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's this ROM hack of, actually it's not a ROM hack, it's a game made from scratch on the NES, I believe. And it is basically a Sonic clone, but slower, and it has Mario instead of Sonic, like playing as the main character. And it's called Samari. I guess it's like a mix of Sonic and Mario, right? So I played that on my PSP when I put like emulators on my PSP. I played that for a little bit, and it's a pretty bad game, honestly. A lot of the levels just sort of repeat. It's a pretty shocking game, but that was like the most I ever got into Sonic, and I actually prefer that to the Sonic games simply because the slower pace makes it a little bit more playable, in my opinion. But Spyro, on the other hand, it gets the fast pace really well. Like Spyro can charge, and somehow I've never gotten motion sickness. I know like Asians, them ones that are sort of more familiar with Mario 64, you know, a lot of them got motion sickness. Japanese kids playing it, I think, so that's why they changed Spyro Japanese into that. On the Japanese version they made the game slower and a different camera angle because apparently it gave Japanese people motion sickness, and I have heard that's a thing. Spyro, I mean, I think I'm just so used to Spyro that it's never given me motion sickness. So I think it's a right amount of fast-pacedness, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm not going very fast-paced at the moment. I'm going very, very slow because I'm talking. But generally, yeah, generally the game is quite fast-paced. You can move pretty fast in this game. And, you know, there is the supercharged stuff, which is all about speed as well. Have I got this chest yet? Fuck me. All right. That sucks. I was hoping maybe like I bonked or something and then like I would still have supercharge or something like that. Like I always do that with that chest. I always like overspeed into it. So Crash is a good game as well. It's obviously different. I think it's a better sort of game because it's more challenging. Like Spyro, I don't think is very challenging. Especially this game. It's challenging in sort of a speedrun sense, definitely. But just to get through it, I don't think it's a very challenging game. Like getting game overs, if you're taking your time, I 20 lines, right? Getting your game overs if you take your time is pretty difficult in this game, especially if you've played it a fair bit. Well, Crash I think is a fair bit more challenging, those games. Especially like Crash 1 if you want 100% it or something, you know, or Crash Bash or something. So Spyro has always been easier. So I think it's a lot better of a speed game than it is like a game for challenge. It's really good for speed running. Especially Spyro 2 is really good for bingo. Like it's like that game is like almost sort of suspiciously made to be a bingo game. I made like a Spyro 1 bingo with some people as well a couple of years ago. And it's not as good as Spyro 2. Like even I mean, I think Spyro 2 Bingo is best when you have like a save state that's in Winter Tundra and you just use and Super Flame is banned. I think that bingo is the best. But even the bingo where you start from the beginning of the game with no cheats or anything in Spyro 2 is really fun. Especially if you know how to do gulp skip well. I don't, so I think I was telling you guys that I was in a bingo tournament a couple of years ago and I really flubbed it because I was the only one who can... I mean, sorry, they were the only one who could do gulp skip. I couldn't do shit. So, how many gems are we missing? Oh, like 60 gems, okay. I've already got that chest. Oh, it's up in that area. Yeah, it's up in the area. Like, can I? I can't get it from here, can I? Let's see. No, it's... Oh, maybe I can. Crazy! I didn't know you could do that. Actually, I did not know you could do that. But that's pretty handy. When I do 120%, I want to like make it so I can beat the game as fast as I can, where I don't have to pull off skips which I'm terrible at. Like for example, there's like a skip where you could supercharge and go up this sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, polygon here, and like yeet yourself up to the platform at the top. Like I don't know how to fucking do that. It's too hard for me. So I'm just gonna like find ways to make the game easier for me, and I think I would utilize a lot of def abuse in treetops. So I'd have to get a lot of lives by the time I get to treetops. I think like that's one thing. Right, so I think my entry into Let's Plays and speedrunning and all that stuff was sort of a cope for me hating my body and hating puberty especially. Yeah, it's not a question of like whether or not I want to be a woman or some shit like that. Like I mean, you can argue till you're blue in your face, like, oh, what is a woman? Is it this? Is it that? You know, like, there's a whole lot of discourse about that shit. I'm not that interested in talking about that in this video, but it's sort of irrelevant to me. I think like I'm sort of probably more autistic about it than I need to be, because at the end of the day, I would be happier to sort of look like a post-pubescent woman than a post-pubescent man on average, like the average one of each, right? And so I think that's sort of enough for me to sort of to classify as transgender, you know. Oh, so why haven't you done work on your voice or some shit like that? It's mainly because, and the reason that I have been so hesitant about like sort of making like the full sort of transition in terms of like changing my name or gender marker or like identifying as this or that. I think the reason is that I feel like I don't know, puberty sort of fucked me too badly to really go full throttle with that stuff. Like nowadays I've sort of accepted like it's probably, you know, I probably should go through all that stuff, but there was quite a number of years I just thought like you know, doesn't really matter like at the end of the day, because I'm not gonna like look the way I wanted to look, so you know there's no sort of real point to really, you know, go heavy into that. So if you want to get like I really dislike people who say that a word means nothing. Like there's a lot of like, for example, the word woke, right? I say it a fair bit, and the reason I say it is because it has utility. It has utility. We all know what it means, right? We all know what the word woke means, right? Maybe we have slightly different definitions. Maybe some things that can be debated whether or not, you know, that's woke or not. But generally, you know what the word means. But I have like, you know, stupid, smug friends, even close friends, who like to say like, well, actually it's meaningless, and you know, like, you know, people, there's no, like, the whole word is just used by reactionaries, blah 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 blah. I hate it when people are like that, because words have utility. It makes it easier to talk about things. You can encompass things generally through using words. And so people who say like, oh, you know, that word is pointless, that label is pointless. It's all of these things. Words are just used as a tool so that we can communicate more sort of complicated ideas, right? Like we can just bring it down to one word, and I guess my annoyance in people that that get annoyed by the way that words are used, like, oh, that it's meaningless or some shit like that. That's why I tend to say like quote unquote all the fucking time, because I'm sort of referencing the fact that this is sort of a word that might have a different definition depending on what you think, or maybe I'm sort of expressing that the definition that most people use I don't necessarily agree with either. So somebody sort of mocked the other day how I do that all the time. I use quotes all the time when I'm talking about various words, and I think it's because I have a history of people misunderstanding me, or people straw manning me. People straw man me a lot. It's really annoying. I'm the kind of person who is quote unquote easily rage baited. And what I mean by that is that people will say something to me that, I mean, like, maybe it's a joke, or like it's a stupid political opinion that I just can't help but like retaliate against, you know. But I guess how I'm different to most people is I don't take it really that personally when people rage bait me. I mean, unless I think that they're somebody who they're not really my friend. They're just trying to sort of mock me or something like that. I mean, to be honest, I think there has been times where people have been not an ally to me, and have been just trying to get at me. And great, those gems are like intertangled with the fucking. I love it when that happens. They are just trying to sort of get a rise out of me, or they're trying to, you know. Sometimes it is quite what's the word? It's quite is it the gem here? Yes. It is quite malicious, right? Sometimes it is malicious, but a lot of the time it's just I don't know. It's just what people just sort of enjoy doing with me, and I sort of enjoy being rage baited. I sort of enjoy being bullied sometimes by people, if they're my friends and I trust them. And I enjoy rage baiting other people too, which also gets me in trouble. So that's finally it. I think this let's play. This part was like took fucking forever. I apologize again for my gameplay skills, but and I apologize for my rambling. I apologize for just going from topic to topic and not having any sort of cohesive plan for how I'm talking about things. But that's how my brain works. That's how I want to talk. So I hope it has been enjoyable to you, to somebody. That's the video. Next time we will be doing Dreamweavers and the final world, and maybe I'll be able to sort of sum up everything I've said in this whole thing to some kind of cohesive point or something. I don't know. I don't know if there's actually a point to it all or not. So goodbye, everyone.